What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch in the Roo, presented by Skyman Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, be better, love better, see better, feel better every damn day of their lives. And our Tuesday night show, brought to you by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Muskox, a Detroit-based apparel company in Michigan that creates durable, high-quality flannels like the one I am wearing right now, built to last a lifetime. This is flannel season. I'm telling you right now, there is no better feeling than being wrapped in a flannel when it's cold outside, when you get off a plane late on a Monday night in Detroit and you've got a flannel on. It's a great place to be. Muskox Flannels, you get $15 off Muskox Flannels if you're a Couch in the Rube listener with the promo code CAWCAW15. That's CAWCAW15. Go to gomuskox.com. That's GOMUSKOX.com. Jason, how you doing, man?
Why don't you write something? Huh? Why don't you write something?
Oh, my goodness. Good to see you, buddy. What's going on? Anything happen? That old hacky bit? Anything happened lately? We got lots to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I was glad I wasn't there for that yesterday. I was on a flight.
I don't blame you. We had people send it to the Couch and the Rube account and mine. It's like, I watched it before the show today. It's like, all right, I get it.
I've had that conversation privately with Izzo. And I've seen him say it publicly other times, and I get where he's coming from. Like, Izzo is like most of our listeners.
Don't coach my team.
He is passionate about Michigan State, loves the school, feels a certain way about Michigan that is deep-seated, and that comes out when he feels like his school is being wronged, and he has a passion for it, and he can't see straight beyond that. And I don't blame him for that. I mean, I also know a couple things. One, he only reads what's put in front of him. If it had been written, he might not have seen it. But the other thing is, I feel, because that gets shared with all these writers. Are you brave enough to write this? Are you gonna write it? What are you gonna write? Well, I just wrote a fucking column last week on this. I mean, some people didn't read that.
Why don't you write something, huh?
And some of these guys aren't paid to write opinion pieces. They're just supposed to cover the thing. Everybody has different roles. So, I mean, I get, but I also wonder.
Who is he talking to?
Well, he's just frustrated. And he's talking to a media that he doesn't understand and a media that sometimes he would like to voice his opinion through them.
Sure.
And you know what? He has that right to do that. And I don't blame Izzo for being frustrated with the situation. I don't at all, given his position at the school, given the way he sees it.
Well, he likes to make his point clear. Like, you could tell when he has something on his mind, he gets that little, like, where he's like bopping up and down, like he really wants to say something about the topic. And then Fred Heumann asks him about it, and he said what he felt. And I didn't disagree with what he said. I just felt with all this tunnel talk, bringing it up again, brought up more. You know what I mean? I figured if he would have maybe said this a week later, would it have been. The problem is bringing it back up again. I don't know.
You had to do it because the news yesterday was the $100,000 fine for Michigan State. It was there was new news. It was the reprimand for Michigan that was just sort of a verbal reprimand that in Ward Manuel, the AD there, had kind of a weird comment, and I'm still not sure based on what I've read, and haven't had time yet to talk to some people about.
Why are they always weird though?
But the question is whether the reprimand was for their entire operation or just the ability of somebody to touch Mel Tucker's head, a fan to touch Mel Tucker's head. Ward Manuel made it sound like that. And I guess I'll take him at his word. I don't know the man well. But if he's being dishonest there, that would be shitty. And it's weird that
what's a public, like Izzo said, what is a public reprimand? Is it like the Detroit Lions that get an apology after the refs screw up a call? I don't understand.
What the Big Ten should have done, and I've been a little sour on the Big Ten's handling of a couple things, going back to the Jagger Joshua thing last week with MSU hockey and how slow they were and non-responsive to that situation. What the Big Ten should have done, we're not going to charge you $100,000, Michigan, because it's going to cost more than that to hire the construction crew to fix your tunnel. You don't have to build another tunnel, but you can't have the backlog of players that wind up waiting to get into these two little doors up the same tunnel, even when you bring them in separately to the tunnel sometimes. You're going to have to fix that with some construction underneath. That's going to cost you more than $100,000. That is the requirement. That's the reprimand. That would have been, I think, a decent play.
So if there weren't other, instances of this happening in the tunnel with Michigan, the stadium, would Michigan State, would they have been fined more? I just don't understand.
What don't you understand?
I just don't understand why they would get fined $100,000 when Michigan has had other instances
because you still can't.
A tunnel,
Yeah,
an issue in a tunnel.
But just because there's an issue doesn't mean Michigan State still acted poorly. I'm not saying
1,000%, but I don't understand where the $100,000 the number came from. Is all. I mean, why not? Michigan should be fined $100,000. If you're going to fine it, fine both schools.
You could pick any random number. I mean, I know it's a bigger number than has been done before. It's not that consequential of a number, given the television revenue money that's coming in soon and other ways to budget.
It's just crazy though.
Yeah,
and
I get why people are frustrated that feels like Michigan got off without anything, without any repercussions, without any punishment here. I don't have a problem with Izzo saying what he's saying. I just know that the problem with that is it goes viral, and people don't realize that. I mean, I'll give you an example. Last year, I wrote a column. I can't even remember what it was on, but it was a nothing column. Like it was we needed a Sunday column type column, right? Okay, Graham, what do you got? Oh, I started to write something on this. Okay, it was about recruiting. It was after Jeremy Fears Jr. had signed or committed, or they got another
Pete
guy.
Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
It was not that.
No.
Whatever it was, one of Izzo's assistants, I don't believe, loved the headline. So Izzo one night, it was the night that the Michigan State game was called off because Michigan had COVID. So they were supposed to play the next day. Izzo calls me, pissed off about the column. It takes me about 3 minutes to realize that he hasn't actually read the column. And he's, I haven't read it. One of my assistants was upset. What? Okay. I didn't like the headline. Okay. I'm
Cockburn.
Again, if somebody had written something, because I did last week, not that I would just take Izzo's opinion, but he may have not have read it, is what I'm saying. Even if everybody there he was talking to had written the column he wanted written, he may not have read it. Now, not everybody's written that. And there are some pieces that have been read out there that are written out there that I disagree with. They have the right side. I didn't like Wojo's piece initially at the Detroit News. I didn't think that was great.
Los?
There are things. What did he write?
I don't know.
There have been things that I would have that could be done if you're covering Michigan from a bigger picture standpoint. Like, this tunnel is a problem. What can be done? Like, that story really hasn't been done to that extent, right? At least that I've read. And if it has, I don't read everything. I'm like Izzo. I just pretend to read shit and have an opinion about it. But so there are things.
Is someone reading it that you're saying that people tell him stuff? Do they?
People bring it to his attention.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, but not everything. Only if they think he might be of interest, or it's a coach he's having a conversation with, or it's a sports information director if they think he needs to know. But not all the time. And again, I have no problem with his reaction to it. I just knew the overall reaction because it was on video that was then going to be on Twitter was this sort of moment of, why is that anybody have the courage to do this? Why aren't people writing this? A couple things. One, I mean, if this particular thing bothers, like here would be my advice. Every time the word tunnel or the word University of Michigan football right now triggers you, make a donation to your food bank. Do something that it has an impact that ain't this shit. And I mean it's not, and I get why people care.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to.
But fans wanted to hear something like Izzo was saying, right? And I know you take offense to the "why don't you write something" part. I really don't, and I really don't know what Izzo would want guys like maybe you to write. I just don't understand what he was looking for.
So what I wrote last week was about that I thought the charges were a step too far, and that it was enough that we needed. And the problem, partly for the Big Ten, is that the Big Ten, they did drag their feet on this, and I understand initially they were waiting for the charges, and because there is a criminal side of this, we'll wait. But then you're waiting, and you're doing it even later than everybody else. The criminal charges come out the night before Thanksgiving, and you know how I feel about this. Just because it's Thanksgiving, just because it's a Friday after Thanksgiving, you don't get that day off. You've chosen to work in this business. Don't drag people's time out any longer. The Big Ten office should all be working the Friday before Thanksgiving. And like that. I'm sorry. This is my own pet peeve on that stuff. Don't wait till the following Monday. You can do this you expedite this as quickly as possible. But I do not think the Big Ten handled this all that well, based on the
shocker.
Based on how long it took them to have a reaction, to have guidance. They did not give Michigan State or Michigan really any guidance on what they wanted done. And in positions of leadership, just because there is a criminal case going on, that doesn't mean you don't have a reaction. You had the video. You had the ability to issue these fines based on your own information earlier, instead of continuing this story even longer. And I do think that Michigan, operationally, has some culpability here. Now, it wasn't their players that reacted the way Michigan State's did, but Michigan has a situation there that is not just a new thing, and they need to fix that. And they need to either fix it with logical logistics, which are pretty easy to do, or with construction, and probably both.
What about security?
Whatever.
Did they amp up security
whatever.
to stop it? I don't know.
Whatever. And then Michigan State and other football programs, just don't beat the shit out of people in the tunnel, man. It ain't that hard.
Well, don't swing your helmet.
Don't swing your helmet. That's the big thing.
Just don't do that.
But my big issue with the overall charges was this did happen in the arena, so to speak. This did not happen. If this happened at a 7-Eleven, or if this happened in this studio, it's plainly assault. And I understand the actual physical act was assault. But my point was, this is 10 minutes after a heated rivalry, heated competition. And it's something that, we're all culpable in that sense. We all build this up. We all create the energy and the venom that is behind what happens on that field and what happens in that locker room and all the feelings that exist. You, me, every fan who's pissed off about this, every alum who's invested, everybody who's clicking on the word tunnel, typing the word tunnel 65 times a day into Google and saying, what the hell, Big Ten tunnel. Charges, Jim Harbaugh, what? Everybody is a part of that, creating that situation. And for something that happened 10 minutes after the game in the arena, so to speak, when emotions are high, I don't think we want to go down that road. And that was my point on my column. Again, that's not talking about the helmet, swinging the helmet. That's different. That's a different level of.
And I agree, because you take out the swinging of the helmet. I saw a lot of skirmishes go on on Saturday throughout the college football slate of guys just doing that, pushing around and stuff like that. I just don't think that is a big of deal, right? And those charges are probably going to be dropped. Those guys are reinstated. Crump, on the other hand, 8 games is pretty heavy, but
I don't think he'll ever play at Michigan State again.
I don't think
it matters.
so. Why would you?
Yeah, I don't think it
right?
matters.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the off the field stuff, and again, I understand Izzo's deep seated frustration goes back to like the '80s with Michigan. So he is automatically triggered with that, and I understand that a lot of fans are too, and I understand that I don't think Michigan handled this situation all that well. I think Harbaugh did not help it by pushing for charges, right? And being so vocal about that, and almost if he doesn't do that, I'm not sure charges ever happen, and that.
Even with Crump?
That would have been interesting. I don't know. That's and that sort of, you kind of got to separate those two things a little. And either way, I hope that we're able to sort of look. The problem is this is going to be in the news. There's going to be legal stuff going on. Crump already had a court appearance, so there's lots of stuff that is going to keep this front and center. And I'm just saying, every time you get triggered, food bank donation. Do it. You'll feel better about yourself. You realize some perspective. And
so if you have an inside thought, or if you say something out loud, then
whatever,
you have to donate. Oh.
Yeah. It's like a donation jar for a swear jar or something like that. Yeah, food bank,
canned goods,
whatever. Just
stack them high.
Yep. Just that's what you do.
All right.
All right. Let's go to football, the game itself, and the end of a season, which I think is over now.
You sure? I think they might make a bowl, right? Someone bowed out, or
no. I think they're not going to quite make it at 5-7. And you know what? If they were offered a bowl, they should decline it.
I don't understand the fans that actually would like Michigan State to play in a bowl.
How many are there? I don't see a lot of them out
I've seen
there.
a couple of the practices would be great, or they want to see the guys one more time. I just don't.
What do you
at
want
5
to
and
see?
7, nothing. I don't know. I don't want to see anything. I want the season to be over. 5 and 7 is embarrassing. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation. It's like beating up a 70-year-old man. It's like you should have, and if you lose, you're embarrassed. If you lose a bowl game at 5 and 7, first of all, I didn't even know you could make a fucking bowl game at 5 and 7. Why are we doing that? There's too many bowl games to begin with. Now we're just giving every team with 5 fucking wins. Oh yeah, come on down to Ohio. I mean, who cares? Even gamblers wouldn't care.
So to me, to have any energy going into a bowl game at 5 and 7, you would need a situation where you're a first-year coach who took over a 1-11 program and you started to win games late. And there's some excitement around what's going on in the program.
All right.
But there are very few of those situations. I can't imagine, and I understand the bowl practices argument, whatever. And maybe it's different even if this is Mel Tucker year 1 and you hadn't had the 11-2 season. Mm-hmm. But I just don't. First of all, the key to the Mel Tucker era is the recruiting class that are true freshmen right now, this recruiting class this December and February, and the one a year from now. I think those 3 recruiting classes ultimately determine whether his tenure at Michigan State has a shot. And you don't want anything, bowl practices, whatever, anything to get into the way of that recruiting in December. And to me, if you're Michigan State, and it's not like you're going to get that much of a jolt because you're playing in the Piss Daddy Bowl or whatever it is against Army down in Texas or something like that. You know, like, to me, you want all your focus to be on building the best roster for next season and beyond that you can do it. And so I would, in the transfer window, what is it, December 5th, the next transfer portal window begins? Like, there ain't a lot of, they have
that next Kenneth Walker.
They have windows for that now. You got to be ready for them. You can't be going, you know what I'm going to do? Let's work on some backpedaling today with a young defensive back. Do that shit in January. All right?
Yeah.
That would be my.
I don't understand why anyone would want to play in that kind of bowl. I mean, I gotta say, Graham, I mean, over with Matt Rule and Fickle now joining the Big Ten, I got to say it's a little scary, right? If you're a Michigan State fan coming off that kind of a season and seeing those two guys.
Both good
who
hires.
Flipped programs before, they're proven.
Both good hires. We'll see if, I don't know if they're going to be divisions by the time those programs are good anymore and how often they'll play each. But yeah, if Nebraska and Wisconsin are good, I mean, Wisconsin's been good. They've just been down. But if they get really good, and Nebraska, and Rule got it going a little bit, to me, the reason that's a great hire is you want a coach who's won places where it's really hard to win. And he won at Temple. You don't automatically win at Temple in college football.
One doesn't.
No. So that's a really, I think that was a smart hire by Nebraska. And the other thing, when I watched this Michigan State football team at the end of in that game against Penn State, that was a team, that was its last dance. That was its swans. That was them giving everything. That was its last stand, really. It's a better way of putting it. That's the word I was looking for.
The team, actually, they absolutely didn't quit. You can say that.
And they came back and got it to 5. And at the very end of the game, what they don't have is things like an offensive line to protect Peyton Thorne when he's backpedaling, gets drilled as he throws the ball up for an interception. Their shortcomings kept them from getting where they needed to go. But they put up an absolute fight in that game. You see some of the talent of a Keon Coleman. You see some of the ability they have. You see the grit that's in that. There's no quit in that team. That's not their issue. And so I think that was a fine game to have as your last stand in this difficult year. It was not a shameful loss. It was just a loss where you do not have enough. Now go get enough. Go get enough in the transfer portal. Go get enough in the recruiting classes and build the program.
I would still say it was kind of depressing. I watched a little bit of the game, and just watching it, it was kind of like, I don't know if there's no way you can build momentum off that game other than saying, okay, those guys did not quit. They didn't give up on the coaching staff, because that was obviously a big fear. Was it likely? Doubtful. But you never know if the team gives up, and then what happens.
Yeah,
even the talk of 5 and 7 going to a bowl, it just annoys me.
After the Indiana loss, just dumb. Yeah, just be done with it. And the other thing is, if you are somebody who is looking for the greater good of the season, I've written this and talked about this before. If you're somebody who's looking for the greater good of the Michigan State football and Michigan State basketball season, and your happiness is predicated on those two programs over an 8-month window every year, you do not want this football team to play again, because that is an extra month for the basketball program without Keon Coleman and Malik Carr. And I'm going to tell you right now, Keon Coleman is somebody who could help this team right now. Now, he may not help the team tomorrow if he joins the team tomorrow, but what I mean is if he had been on this roster since September, say he was not a football player, and this team with the injuries to Jaden Akins and Malik Hall, you don't think they could use his athleticism? I've talked to people around. He is a guy that would be an absolute starter in the Big Ten if he was just basketball. And he's never going to be that. But I do think on this particular team that he can be a spot role player. And we'll see if he can get there. But he's certainly walking in knowing what it takes. He knows what he's walking into. They know what they're getting to some degree in him, unlike a year ago. And now, I don't know officially when they'll join the roster. I would maybe next week, although they've got 2 Big Ten games next week. And so you're not going to be seeing them play in those games. And then after that, they get a nice deal where they play Brown at home. They have like 11 days off to play Oakland at home, and they have 10 days off and play Buffalo at home. That's the 3 weeks where you integrate somebody back into what you're doing.
Guys right
yeah, perfect practice times and all that. So you do not want if Michigan State going to a football bowl game could not only, I think, not help the recruiting class you're trying to build in football, I think it could slightly hurt your basketball program. So stay a hell away out of, whatever bowl game that might. Now, again, they're not going to get offered it. I don't think they're going to go. And I think.
If you ask the players, would they want to? If Mel Tucker went in and said, "Hey, do you guys want to play in this game?" What would they say? I would imagine they would be like, "Nah." I think it
would be a mixed group. Yeah,
these guys weren't able to tackle each other during practice weeks and stuff. They're out of guys pretty much. Just end the season.
Let me ask you this: from watching that team, what's your takeaway on what that program needs more than anything? How far they are away when you watch them play Penn State. Look, Penn State's not a playoff team, but they're a New Year's Six team. They're a team like if Michigan State was Penn State this year, they'd be having a similar year to last year in a lot of ways. That's exactly how far they are away. And when you watch that team,
not to mention Michigan and Ohio State that we watched on Saturday. How far away are they from those two?
They're
teams?
a ways from that. And I think that's
also, now you have Rule and you got Fickle coming in. It's kind of depressing to think about the football program right now. But to answer your question, I would say offensive line. You need to start there at least, right?
Yeah, there's some turning back the clock 20 years stuff that's going on right now that it feels like in terms of those programs rising up, Nebraska, Michigan, and Michigan looks legitimately like a hoss. Like that, they are pushing people around. That was impressive. That was really, really impressive.
It was.
And the way that and
I would like to give Harbaugh more credit, but it's impossible to with these Michigan fans.
Holy hell! The thing is, Harbaugh's a really good coach.
He is.
He just sometimes behaves like a jackass, and that's there are lots of those guys out there.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean you're not a good coach. Lots of jackasses in coaching. Let me just say that it's not Harbaugh's not alone in the jackass department.
Mm-hmm.
He just and in my issues with Harbaugh, really, I did not agree with the way he did this in this moment in terms of pushing charges. My issues with him stem from early on when the way he just communicated and just sort of absent respect for those people in front of him a couple times.
He's always been that.
He's a weird
guy.
dude. He's a weird dude, but he's a great football coach, and he's built the type of program that Michigan State needs to build, and that's okay. And that's really hard for Michigan State fans to hear and to think about, but that's okay.
But it's hard to ignore.
But
watching this team,
and here's the thing: they were that for a long time. Michigan State was the dominant program. It's not like Michigan State has to cower and say, "Oh, this." Once again, this is in terms of the cycle, and they've got it right now. That doesn't mean it's forever. Look at Clemson. Clemson's about finding out that forever ain't forever right now. Like Michigan, Harbaugh may be in the NFL in 2 months, and this may not last for them. But right now, when you look the way that offensive line looks, the way that collective roster looks, that's what you're trying to do. And Michigan State has got a way to build that. I think it.
And what about Peyton Thorne? Is he going to be the guy next year? I guess his dad. Tim Lester got fired at Western, right?
All right, let's take a really quick break.
Oh.
And when we come back, we'll talk about Peyton Thorne and some of the roster decisions. Then we'll get into some hoops. And later on, we're going to have Harry. We'll pick the games as well for this weekend. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muskox High Quality Flannels.
Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts. Guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Michigan. Hopcat is proud to be an official sponsor of Peyton Thorne. Show your Spartan pride by ordering the iconic Peyton Thorne burger, created by the man himself. There is no better place to watch any Michigan State game other than the 50-yard line at Spartan Stadium. Stop by any of our locations: East Lansing, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, and Holland. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit hopcat.com. Ever wondered just how comfortable you can be? Find out with Muskox high-quality flannels. Muskox is a Detroit-based company that creates durable comfort that'll last a lifetime. Muskox flannels are thoughtfully designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. This will be the softest flannel you'll ever buy, guaranteed. For every $100 purchase, Muskox will donate $10 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. Get comfortable this fall and winter with Muskox flannels. Learn more or order yours today at gomuskox.com. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Sky Mint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Sky Mint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Sky Mint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Sky Mint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find Couch and the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, which their featured brand right now is the North Cannabis Country. That's through December 5th. All sorts of great deals on North Cannabis, including 3 for $25 on packs of gummies, 6 for $40, deals on eighths and cured concentrate, pre-rolls, all that good stuff. At any Skymint location throughout Michigan, go to skymint.com for location information and specials. And Skymint likely delivers in your area, by the way. Skymint is, if you go to skymint.com, find out they deliver in Lansing, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, a number of places, and find out if Skymint will deliver your cannabis straight to you. Our Tuesday night show also presented by our friends at Muskox, high-quality flannels. Go to gomuskox.com, and you can have $15 off if you're a Couch of the Rube listener on a Muskox flannel by using the promo code CAWCAW15. That's CAWCAW15. All right, Jason.
Hey, do we want to mention the shirts for Christmas?
Yeah. We are going to offer. We're going to figure this out exactly what we're going to offer, but we're going to do another shirt offering for Christmas that you can order,
or hoodies. We'll have those too.
Hoodies, T-shirts, and we'll have some things like caw, and we're figuring out the sayings. I'm going to put out a tweet, and you can sort of respond to what you like, and then also. You can respond underneath if there's something else you want, and we'll sort of put together a collection of possibilities.
Santa Rube, caw, college refs are ass.
Whatever it might be.
Appreciate you. I don't know.
Whatever it might be. Or just Couch in the Rube. Yeah. So we'll probably have that one as well. So anything you might want, cockburn, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about cockburn.
Yeah. So.
It would take up the whole shirt. We could probably do that.
Maybe it'll be like, are you gonna
write it?
Are you gonna write it? Are you gonna write it? Just all over the.
Why don't you write something? Write something, huh? Why don't you write something?
How about this one?
Jason, do you think that Bill Beekman?
I want a shirt like that.
I don't even. Was that
on Yoda's face?
Was that an early attempt at Yoda front of me?
Jason, do you think
Good God.
Wait a minute. What's the difference between an early attempt and one now?
Oh, I'm so much better now.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, I'll do it with the Peyton Thorne take, right? Just be like, Thorne, Peyton is. Say, that's so much better.
Jason, do you think
No, maybe not. Fuck.
Bill Beekman?
You just saying Bill Beekman randomly at the end is the best part.
It's weird. It's just weird. I don't
Right.
even remember what happened. It's not great.
So we can have that on shirt for you if you want.
Yeah,
With Yoda, with Graham's face on it. I don't know.
all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Okay,
But we'll need to have those.
But December
by December 11th is like the end date for us to do that. So
yeah, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
We'll get that out there. We'll get that operation and going, and you can order a Couch in the Roof shirt if you so desire. Okay, the Peyton Thorne conversation.
yeah.
So here's my thought on Peyton Thorne. Let's start with yours first of all. What do you think is Peyton Thorne? Did he have the type of season that warrants being the starting quarterback next year?
I don't think so, but can you really blame him with that offensive line? I mean, there were some throws that Peyton Thorne missed you can't blame the offensive line for those. But what is Thorne? I mean, where is he at mentally? Does he want to come back next year? You have to talk to him. If he's not, I don't know if he's your guy. I don't know if he's your guy, even if he says to you, Coach, I want to come back next year. I want to be the starting quarterback. I think Mel Tucker has to look at his options either in the transfer portal, right? I mean, or maybe one of his guys that he thinks is ready. I just don't know if Thorne can come back and be the guy.
So I don't think I think he's an above-average college quarterback at this point. I mean, if you start looking around, there are a lot of bad quarterbacks in college football. He's an above-average college quarterback, but he's not. There are certain things I think he does well with the pre-snap stuff. I think he makes certain decisions well. He talks the game well. I think he's a good leader. I think he's a gritty kid, and at times, I think he's a pretty good thrower at times, but not always. And so I think, and I do think if he had Michigan, like if you put him on Michigan's team, they would be absolutely fine because they have a lot of good players around him. If you put him on Ohio State's team, he'd be absolutely fine. Michigan State next year is not going to be what Michigan is this year or what Ohio State is. Michigan State is going to struggle. Next year is going to be a bit of a struggle. There's just, I don't think there's any way around it.
What do you mean by fine if he played on Michigan or Ohio State? He would be fine meaning what? He would take them. Would Michigan be 12-0 right now?
I think they might be.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe you're not. Thorne, I agree with you. I think Thorne is a good quarterback and would do well in those situations. 12-0 with Michigan, I don't know.
I'd like to see him have a whole season where you don't see a lot of pressure. Not pressure in terms of the game. I'm talking about, pressure in your face as you're throwing the ball and where you have a running game and you have an offensive line. It's a very different existence.
But we did see that, and he did overthrow some guys.
Oh, he had some issues. And again,
flat.
when it comes to Michigan State, I do not think he has played well enough not to see competition this offseason.
Right.
I think he absolutely has to. Now, does he want to be there? I have not heard that he doesn't. The whole thing with his dad, like even before his dad and that staff was let go at Western, I don't know if his dad was going to be back at Western after this year. That had sort of something that was sort of taking place toward the end of the year. So who knows? And who knows where his dad will wind up and who knows what's going on in his mind. But I do think in terms of the pecking order, he's at least high enough up that he didn't get replaced in the season. Now, they may have looked at a guy like Caton Hauser, who may or may not, and who's mostly playing with the scout team anyway, and said, yeah, we don't really have an offensive line. We're getting hammered in some of these games. We don't want to destroy that kid's confidence. There's no reason to do that. And Peyton Thorne can handle this. And that may be the case next year, too. I mean, you ultimately want to have an open competition, but you also have to look at if this is not a great offensive line again. I do not think it's going to be. Who can handle that? Who's your best option? Who's the veteran that gets you into the best play you can be, who can handle the beating and cannot completely fall apart and lose their confidence? And so that's an issue to think of, too. But, again, I think it needs to be a competition this fall. That's not just fair to Peyton Thorne and the team. That's only fair to Noah Kim. It's fair to Caton Hauser. That's fair to anybody. These jobs aren't like they can't just be given to you, and they have to be continually earned through competition. I mean, if there is a receiver who is better than whoever the receivers, the receivers that were starting Trey Mosley and Keon Coleman next year, that receiver is going to play. Same thing should happen at quarterback. You don't get to just be the guy because the timing was right when you won the job. That's not fair. You have to continuously earn it. I think Peyton Thorne would say that. And so ultimately, and I think when you listen to the coaches, you can hint that that's the direction they're going anyway. And I don't think there are quarterbacks out there that that have taken enough steps where you go, boy, that guy's a star. He's just the guy next year. The whole team looks to him. He's obviously the guy. I don't think Peyton Thorne's at that place right now. I do think there are players that probably wonder about the other guys.
There's so many questions going into this offseason, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of wild. I mean, with the kicking game, what's going – I mean, has anyone ever pinned Mel Tucker down and said, what's going on with the kicker? Jack Stone transferring? I mean, who's going to kick next year?
Well, and yeah, I mean, Stone had that great kick against Penn State, but he had been sort of replaced, and I don't –
I mean, I don't blame Jack Stone. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of wild to have a kicker kind of carousel throughout a season and then go into offseason and not have anyone –
The big thing is, can they build in the trenches for next year? They lose some key guys on defense, and also I know they had some injuries back there. On offense, I mean, I just don't see how their line is a whole lot better next year. And maybe some guys take some giant leaps, and they need that to happen. But I don't see how this is a much better team. What they really need to happen next year, because when you look at the timing of the build for Mel Tucker's program, what they really need is to maximize who they are again, for people to have confidence in him. You want to see young guys start to play well. You want to see good game management late in games. You want to see a team that at the end of the year that goes 7-5, that you say, well, that team did about everything it could with what it had in the situation. And it's not saying you're not going to win every close game, but they didn't do that this year. You don't want the Minnesota game ever to happen again. You don't want the Indiana collapse ever to happen again. You have to avoid those, because people can handle a build if they think there's competence. And I think that is ultimately what people are questioning right now. And by the way, that is our Hopcat hot take of the day. I know we didn't take other hot takes in, but we still have our Hopcat hot take of the day. So it goes to my ass, basically. I
goes to your ass?
That doesn't go to my ass. We cut that. We'll fix it in post. That's awful.
Peyton Thornburger goes right to my ass.
That's right. The Hopcat, the best damn beer bar, world-famous cosmic fries, mouth-watering, award-winning burgers, including the Peyton Thorne Burger, which is fantastic. 2 smashed patties with American cheese, bacon, and a sunny side-up egg served on a pretzel bun with cosmic fries, formerly known as crack fries, and absolutely worth it. And as I always say,
right up in my rectum, and it was painful.
It is the thing that they do incredibly well at Hopcat is they have a carefully curated beer list with local partners, so it feels like a local pub. No matter if you're in East Lansing, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, wherever you might be, Indianapolis, Hopcat feels local to you. Go to hopcat.com to find your local Hopcat location. They just
Tim Stout's in an edit bay right now, just a tear going down his eye.
How good that was?
Great. Oh man, what a live read.
Yeah, thanks.
I try that to Tim.
Yeah, I try. Anyway, I think that's I think it's going to be a fascinating next year.
Well, and we go back to the offensive line real quick. We always talk about how hard it is to get guys, offensive linemen, to come in and play right away, right? I mean, it's going to take a miracle for the offensive line to do a 180 in one off season, right? Or can you do that?
Well, and they're losing some guys.
Can you do that with the portal?
No, you can't do it with the portal on the offensive line, I don't think. There are a few guys out there, but it's just so hard because offensive linemen who are doing well, first of all, offensive linemen are different than other positions. They commit early. They like to go places they're comfortable. And if things are going well, they're definitely not leaving. And so it's a hard position to fix in the portal. You got to develop it, and you got to. Well,
you're going to have to find those guys that are battling for a position, and then they don't get that position. Then,
then do you want that guy? What you got to do is
you have to take a risk at some point, though.
You got to recruit and develop your own is what you need to do, and that's where the focus needs to be. And does
Mel Tucker have that much time?
That would be the argument for bowl practices. Well, he does. He absolutely has time because there's a lot of still momentum toward him in the administration. Nobody's looking to get rid of him in Michigan State's administration. People can be frustrated. People will say, Mel Tucker's got one more year. He's on the hot seat. Who's hot seat? You're not firing him. So, like, the only people who can fire Mel Tucker still believe Mel Tucker's the guy. They still want Mel Tucker to be the guy. And they understand, and they should understand, that it's going to take some time. Doesn't mean that they shouldn't want better than they saw this year. Doesn't mean he doesn't need to evaluate his staff every single year, and especially this year. But it does mean that, like, there is no excuse to get rid of Mel Tucker. It would be completely asinine outside of him losing the program or things becoming a total disaster. It would be asinine to get rid of him or have him on the hot seat before the 2025 season. Because here's the deal. If you hire a coach and get rid of them before year 4, then you shouldn't be doing your job. If you're the AD, you should be gone. School president, gone. Board of trustees, gone. And you know, it's hard to get rid of those people, but I'm just saying, like,
wipe them all out.
Well, you shouldn't be in management because you don't know what the fuck you're doing either. And so my point is this: in Mel Tucker's situation, because of when he started, he didn't get that first recruiting class. He didn't get that that group he could have brought over from Colorado, maybe that group that he could have sold on a dream before they won a game. If he had gotten the 2020 class to be his, it would be different. He didn't. And then COVID, and that's nobody's fault, but it happened. So he's 2 years behind. His first real class that matters, I've said this before, in terms of how he is evaluated, we're true freshmen this year. The next one signing this offseason is incredibly important, and the one after that. Those three are going to determine it for him. And ultimately, it won't be until 2025 when those guys are seniors and redshirt juniors and on down throughout the program that you are able to say, this team, he's had time to get his guys, and they ought to be able to compete with Ohio State. So we'll see if he can do it. But before then, what you want to see is competence and growth. And the problem with this year is you did not see that, I don't think. Let's take a quick break again. When we come back, we're going to have Harry Gagnon on. We'll come back after Harry. We'll talk some MSU hoops. We'll get into that. They've got a game also at Notre Dame. Be right back. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muskox Quality Flannels.
Ever wondered just how comfortable you can be? Find out with Muskox high-quality flannels. Muskox is a Detroit-based company that creates durable comfort that'll last a lifetime. Muskox flannels are thoughtfully designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. This will be the softest flannel you'll ever buy, guaranteed. For every $100 purchase, Muskox will donate $10 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. Get comfortable this fall and winter with Muskox flannels. Learn more or order yours today at gomuskox.com.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're Medawar, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love. So your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Medawar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Find our live stream, podcast archives, as well as show, affiliate, and sponsorship information at our website, spotlightmediastudios.com.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muskox. High-quality flannels like the one I'm wearing now. Go to gomuskox.com. That's GOMUSKOX.com and use the promo code CAW15 for $15 off your Muskox flannel. It is time now to pick the games presented by Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. And to do that, of course, the great Harry Gagnon from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, bestbetcorner.com and extrapoints.com. Harry, brother, how you doing?
What's up, guys? How was your Thanksgiving? All good?
It was great. We didn't even ask each other that. We just got right into a bunch of shit.
So much to talk about. It was the best. It was like gambling, weed, sitting at home. It was the best.
Nice.
Lasagna.
And
lasagna,
no snow, right?
Yeah.
And
we
no
don't.
Snow.
No snow. Yeah, we do lasagna.
Beautiful.
We do an Italian
I like
dish.
lasagna, yeah.
Instead
You know,
of
my grandmother used to do that on my mother's side. We had lasagna. We didn't have turkey when we went. That was nice. I like that.
See, I love because I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving kind of food. So I had a tradition with my mother, and then Teresa and I, we keep it. So it's kind of fun.
Tonight,
it's good.
Tonight we had Gramsgiving. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like Thanksgiving, but named after me, of course.
Wow, what an ego.
No, my wife kind of named it because I was away for 6 days, and that she had Thanksgiving with our parents and all that stuff, and then had a Friendsgiving on Saturday. So I missed everything, but we had all this leftover food, so she cooked it up, did candles, the whole dish tonight, and I had a Gramsgiving, as it was called. It was absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's pretty damn cool. All right, Harry. Well, this is it sucks looking at the college football lines. I'll be honest, it's kind of depressing when there aren't degenerate lines, when all the games are championship games. It's you get to that end of the year, you realize that football isn't forever. But there's some great games this weekend, some interesting games, and then some championship games that I don't know. I don't know if they're worth betting or not. So let's go through them. Georgia minus 18 versus LSU in the SEC championship game. This game, I've seen Georgia not destroy people. I've seen LSU look like they might be a contender and then not. I don't know what to make of this. Complete stay away from me. But for our purposes, I think LSU can rise up. I don't think the talent gap between LSU and Georgia is 18 points difference. So give me LSU. Jason, where are you?
I know. What kind of LSU team are we going to see, guys? Georgia minus 18, it's heavy, but this is pretty much a home game for them in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Give me Georgia minus the 18. What do you like, Harry?
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia too. Look, all Stetson Bennett does is win games. And this Georgia defense hasn't given up more than 22 points in the game all season. LSU's too spotty. I'm on Georgia.
Georgia. All right, damn it. So
you like Brian Kelly, though.
I think he's a good coach. And I think
shit. I mean, I know that.
But and I think in this spot, I like him as a coach. Yeah, no doubt. All right, TCU minus 2.5 against Kansas State. TCU all year not getting great respect. Now, Kansas State's had some impressive responses. I am curious to see if TCU needs to win this to get in. I don't think they should. But I think they're in the playoff either way. But I like TCU inside of a field goal. They're baiting me right now at minus 2.5. Give me TCU. Jason, where are you?
I guess I just don't understand this line, right? I mean, minus 2.5. I like TCU. What do you like, Harry?
Well, I'm rooting for TCU. I think TCU is going to cover, but this Kansas State team has been playing really well lately. The quarterback, Will Howard, when he took over middle of the season, in the first game against TCU, had 3 total touchdowns. But still, I just think overall here, too much TCU. Their defense is better. I'm going to lay the 2.5 on the Horned Frogs.
All right. USC minus 3 versus Utah. This is a rematch of a game Utah won. This is USC's only loss all season. I think USC is different and rolling and found something. USC got through a stretch that I didn't think they'd get through to this point unbeaten. And so with it just being a field goal, I know Utah's kind of punished them. I don't love this, but give me USC here.
This is another fishy line, boys. I don't know. Caleb Williams, USC's playing really good. They score a ton of points. I know Utah's known for their defense, but give me USC. What do you like, Harry?
Yeah, and against all that before the season started, we gave out our picks, guys. I did give out USC to win the Pac-12 at plus 170, so I can't go against them now. But this Utah team, 3 losses this year by just a total of 16 points. But you mentioned him, Jay. Caleb Williams, he's balling right now. Last 7 games. 29 total touchdowns. I'm going to take the Trojans.
So the game of most interest, and a game that I wish I thought was going to be a great game, Michigan minus 16.5 versus Purdue. They're just baiting you a little bit with that minus 16.5 inside of 17 points right now. The thing about I don't know that Michigan is necessarily on a cold day in West Lafayette or Ann Arbor going to demolish Purdue. Purdue's a better team than people think. They played decent football toward the end. They get made fun of for being in the West. They're not a great team. They're sort of one-dimensional. The problem Purdue's going to have is Michigan's going to be able to take away that one dimension. I also am a little nervous that Aiden O'Connell, their quarterback's been dealing with his brother's death and has been away from the team now. Who knows? People play all sorts of ways when they come back from that sort of thing. We remember the Brett Favre game, after his dad passed away years ago on a Monday night where he just was out of his mind. He was that good, and Aiden O'Connell's a good quarterback. I think on that track indoors, sort of like with Iowa last year, the cream rises and Michigan will eventually win this thing comfortably. I don't feel 100% great about it, though. I don't know. I'm going to take Michigan here. Jason, where are you?
So Aiden O'Connell is he's like Brett Favre, right? Brett Favre played for
I'm just saying, people when they come back from tragedy, and the people are inspired behind them. I don't know how his teammates feel. I'm just saying he could have a day. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I just can't imagine how much swagger Michigan's going to have going into Indy. They're playing Purdue after that Ohio State game. They want to hammer Purdue, and Purdue's ass. So give me Michigan. What do you like here?
Yeah, O'Connell has put up some decent stats in some games this season, and I hear what you're saying, Graham, but I just can't go against Michigan. Their defense is so solid. shut down Ohio State totally in the second half. And last year in the Big Ten championship, they steamrolled Iowa by 39. I think they do the same to the Boilermakers.
And just to be clear, I'm on Michigan here. I'm betting Michigan. I'm at least going to put them in a teaser. I might do like a 7-point teaser to get it inside of 10, and I'd feel a lot better about that.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Parlay, a money line parlay, Georgia, USC, Michigan, TCU, it's plus 254. Is that low or?
See, I wouldn't jump into that. What I would do is I would jump into like Spain in the World Cup as your other team. Take advantage of teams like that.
You guys are going to 69 about soccer after we're done with the football.
Oh, you know it.
I know it.
Oh yeah,
all right,
love it.
All right, so we're all on Michigan there. Okay, the
Graham had to let everyone know that he's on Michigan.
Well, I didn't want people to think because I sounded like I was waffling.
Thing, though, like the best team that Purdue beat all year was Illinois.
Yeah,
that's not saying a lot.
No, and they recently they struggled at home against Northwestern. They did pull away against Indiana. I mean. I guess, on the road in a rivalry game. Yeah, they lost 24-3.
I mean, the only way you could take Purdue is if you think it's going to be a letdown game after the Ohio State game. I just don't see that.
I mean, the talent level and the productivity when you go from Ohio State and Michigan, and then you got a little bit with Penn State, and then after that, you got nothing. I mean, this is a down, no offense, but down year for the Big Ten, Michigan State, Wisconsin. Changing coaches again. Boy, a lot of changes, a lot of things.
By the way, speaking of spite bets.
Yeah.
Oh, man, did Iowa fuck me. I had them in every little money line parlay. Like it was like, let's throw Iowa in there. Iowa's got this. Iowa here. Iowa this. Iowa, let's throw Iowa teaser in this. Right away, I was like, and luckily for me, I realized it very early in that game. As soon as they lost their safety, that made a huge difference, and they were out of key tight end, and things just wasn't going to be their day, and Nebraska's moving the ball. I'm like, hedge.
Let me ask you, what do you guys think of I hear you, Graham. What do you guys think of the rule hire?
I love it because I think he's a guy. I think he's a guy who wins in college football wherever he goes.
It's the best hire they could make.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
No, yeah. I mean, he was fantastic at Baylor. He really turned around that program from nothing. So that's so great at Carolina. But a lot of things have to go right in the pros. So yeah, I think Nebraska's got to go. They got to go. I mean, he's right. I mean, he's the best guy that they could probably get. Right.
I like coaches who win at every level they coach at. So Urban Meyer, for example, I know he's turned out to be a douchebag, but he won it. He won at Bowling Green, and he wins at Utah, then he wins at Florida and Ohio State. Like wherever he goes, they win. Brian Kelly, Grand Valley, wins at enormous levels. Wins at Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame. There's a faith in there, and Matt Rule has that with Temple and Baylor. Like there's a faith in whatever he'll become because he's just done it multiple places.
But I have to say, I'm more scared of Fickell in Wisconsin.
Are you?
What he's going to do with that team? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Paul Chryst was getting in the way of that Wisconsin program. You bring in a guy like Fickell, who's done it at Cincinnati, made them a major program. That makes me more nervous than Matt Rule, to be honest.
And Fickell doesn't have to worry about so much. He doesn't have to worry about Michigan and Ohio State every year either, being in the West.
All right, NFL games. Game of the week in the NFL. Jaguars -1 at the Lions here. Lions have had the extra time off because of Thanksgiving. Jaguars are coming off at a win. They're feeling good about themselves. They've been shit on the road. And I actually don't think this line – the Jaguars should not be favored here. I think give me the Lions at home against the Jaguars with 10 days off. I think – look, I'm not saying the Jaguars are an awful team, but neither the Lions, they're home. I think this line is wrong. Give me the Lions here. Jason, where are you?
I mean, what's the over-under on the punts? I mean, with Doug Peterson and Campbell, this is a stay away from me because I don't know. It's a wonky kind of weird line, but give me the Lions +1 at home. What do you got here?
Yeah, I like the Lions. Very impressive comeback by the Jags last week versus Baltimore. But I just think Detroit is the better team here. No ETN probably for the Jags either. Who got injured in the first play of the game last week. So give me the Lions.
All right, Jets +3 at Vikings. Vikings continue to win despite being outscored on the season. The Jets are a really talented team, and I don't know if they can hold up at quarterback with
Mike White. Baby, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like what I'm saying. But +3, I think this is a really competitive game, and I don't know if the Jets win it. But if you're giving me 3 points, I'll take it. So give me the Jets, Jason.
I just don't know what Mike White is going to do on the road, boys. the Vikings, it seems a little bit disrespectful. -3 at home to the Jets, but give me the Vikings for some reason. I don't know why I'm saying.
I mean, the Cowboys, there was disrespect for them. And look what happened to the Vikings against the Cowboys when that line looked disrespectful. The Vikings aren't good enough to handle disrespect.
Give me the Vikings -3. What do you got here?
Look, I'm on the Vikings too. I mean, last time Mike White had a game like this, the game after, he was awful. On the road here, I know the Jets defense. I'm not going to disrespect the Jets defense. It's been fantastic this season. But I'm going to ride with my guy, Captain Kirk, and I think they win this game by 4-7.
Boy, okay. Miami is +4 against the 49ers, who are playing fantastic football. This is a really good game. This is one of the better games around this week. I think the 49ers are better. They're home. Four scares me a little bit. I would stay the hell away from this game. I just want to see it. But give me the Niners, but I don't love it. Jason, where are you?
Miami's D is really scary too. And at home, 4-1 at home, the 49ers are. Give me the 49ers. What you got, Harry?
Oh, sometimes this Niner team is hard to figure out. Sometimes they look like a great team on offense. Sometimes they look a little lost. Only 13 points last week, but the defense is spectacular too. I don't know. I just think maybe 4 seems too many here. Tua, when he started the season, he's undefeated. So I'm going to take more than the field goal here. I'll take the 4 with the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a stay away from me. I can't even imagine jumping on that line. Last game we're going to pick here is the Kansas City at Cincinnati. Cincinnati had a really impressive showing against the Titans, kind of bullied them, beat them at their own game a little bit. Kansas City is -2.5 at Cincinnati. I mean, I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs here. I'm a little nervous about this game just because they've got history. I don't think Cincinnati's intimidated by them, but give me Kansas City.
Burrow has a winning record against Kansas City. I just don't like gambling against Kansas City's offense. With that being said, give me Kansas City, Harry. What do you got?
Yeah, I hear you, Jay, and I continue to bet against Kansas City. Maybe it's my just like I don't like Andy Reid at all. I think he's beyond overrated. Look, I don't know. Mahomes might have the better numbers overall, but I'm a Burrow guy. I mean, when the chips are in, I'm going to put my money even on Burrow. I think he gets it done again. He got it done last year in the AFC Championship game against Mahomes, and I think he does it again here.
If Andy Reid is beyond overrated, then what is Dan Campbell? Exactly. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
I'll take Andy Reid any day. I know what you mean about winning the big game with Philly, but he's still a great coach, though. It sounds like that's gambling related.
He didn't win big. I just always say he didn't win anything, and he had the players. He had all the players in Philadelphia, and he happened to have Mahomes, and he's won once.
All right, Harry, I got a soccer bet for you.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
So, if you watch the U.S. game today, I thought they looked fantastic in the first half. Obviously, Pulisic gets beat up scoring that goal. Josh Sargent looks like he hurt his knee. Some issues there a little bit, but I watched the Netherlands play Qatar before that. I'm not impressed, and I watched them play one other time. I don't think they're that good. I mean, and the U.S. is getting plus money here. I'm not saying I would jump on the money line because you lose it if they don't win in regulation with the money line, but draw no bet at plus 210 on the USA. I like a lot. In other words, if it's a draw, you don't your money back. The bet is void, but it's plus 210. I just think that's really good value. There's probably. The value on the actual game line on the spread itself, you can bet the U.S. at like -110, so where if they tied, you'd still win it.
Yeah.
But I think I watched that Netherlands team throughout. I don't think they're that good. I think this is a great draw for the U.S. If they've got something left in them on Saturday morning. First of all, great sports day. We get all the college football championship games beginning with 10 a.m., U.S. versus Netherlands in the World Cup. I hope Big Noon and the College Game Day are just phoning it in because nobody in their right mind is going to be watching a college pregame show. What are your thoughts on my bet?
I think it. I mean, you know what? I agree a little bit because USA can play some pretty good defense. They don't score a ton, that's for sure. I gave out a stat, Graham, on Against All Odds when we were going over this game a couple days ago, and actually on Monday, yesterday when we went over it, and I said in the last 8 matches the United States has played against teams that are in this year's World Cup. In 8 matches, they had scored a total of 1 goal.
Yeah, it's not great.
And today was 2, and guess what? Doesn't matter because they qualified for the round of the 16, so they're there. I mean, they can get it done because of their defense, and I've seen plus 330 out there to win in regulation, so that's not bad either. How about this one, though? How about this? Let's take a shot with Senegal at plus 625 over England. Listen, Harry Kane, who was supposed to win the Golden Boot or was a favorite, he's got 0 goals still, and Senegal, they're putting the biscuit in the basket. They're scoring. Senegal can score.
They looked really good. England is part of a money line parlay that I want to read by you, though.
Okay, all right.
So, and this may change as more teams qualify. And we get more of those.
625 for a team.
It's good. No, it is good.
No.
There is value. I've won some great underdogs in soccer over the time. There is value in that. Okay, so Spain minus 250, Germany, and that's against Japan. And Spain is not 100% qualified yet. They need a result there. Germany against Costa Rica minus 900. And England versus Senegal minus 195. It's plus 135 for those 3 teams. It's not bad value.
It's not bad. It's not bad, right?
Not bad. It's going to be fun either way. Harry, you are a beautiful man. Look forward to catching up next week.
Thanks, Harry.
Enjoy, guys. It's something. See you, guys.
That's the great Harry Gagnon from Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, bestbetcorner.com and extrapoints.com. And, the best thing about the soccer was, what was the game before they played the USA? Who did the U.S. play before this last one? England, right? And everybody was hyping it up, and it was like 0-0 with 2 shots on goal. But it was incredible. The drama was so good. So good. Come on. It was so good. All right. It was incredible.
As long as you guys enjoy it.
It's one of the best games.
Just don't bring me into it. That's all I ask.
That's fair. I won't make you watch. I'm real happy it's a 10 a.m. Saturday game. I'm fired up for that. I would be pissed if Michigan State had some noon basketball game in some place, and it does not. Speaking of Michigan State basketball, when we get back, we'll talk about Michigan State, what happened in Portland, what might happen against Notre Dame. I think they're 2-point favorites against the Irish. Everything that's going on with the foot injuries, all that jazz. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muscat's Quality Flannels.
Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Visit firekeeperscasino.com to download the mobile app today. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts. Guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Michigan. Hopcat is proud to be an official sponsor of Peyton Thorne. Show your Spartan pride by ordering the iconic Peyton Thorne burger, created by the man himself. There is no better place to watch any Michigan State game other than the 50-yard line at Spartan Stadium. Stop by any of our locations: East Lansing, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Kalamazoo, and Holland. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit hopcat.com.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Muskox Quality Flannels. I love these things. They're durable, soft as hell, but don't just take it from me. Many of their reviewers, if you go on muskox.com or you read any review about Muskox, will tell you this, for example, from William: I have never endorsed a product before, regardless of how impressed I am with it. This shirt has changed that forever. This product is fantastic. You won't be sorry about this purchase. Buttery soft and built like a tank, which is what I tell my wife. That's about me, right? Built like a tank, but no, I'm sorry.
And your butter?
Yeah. I immediately ordered another one after receiving my first flannel, and I just got an email from Muskox after a recent Muskox purchase saying if I leave a review, they'll send me another $10 off. So really cool deal from Muskox. I'm going to write a review on my latest Muskox flannel. And if you order a Muskox flannel, you can get $15 off for being a Couch in the Rube listener with the promo code CAW15, CAW 15, and that is at gomuskox.com, GOMUSKOX.com. All right, Jason, let's dig into some MSU hoops talk here.
Let me ask you first.
Yeah.
PK80. What was up with the attendance?
Sucked.
It was brutal. Like, I was like, what is happening in Portland, right? I mean, was there something going on, like a concert nearby? I need an answer. It was embarrassing.
Well, it's Thanksgiving weekend. The games are on actual Thanksgiving, but I might have gone to that if I was there. I mean, it's kind of fun. Some great games. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think they were stunned by it, too. I'll be curious to see if there's another one because the last one wasn't great, but it was better attended than this. And I don't know what that's about. And I really think they were thrown off by it. Like, I know Oregon wasn't that good, but like Michigan State played Oregon, both the men and women, and those games did not draw well. There was almost no Portland didn't have a great crowd at a home game against Michigan State.
I mean like games in the Bahamas and the Atlantis thing, whatever. I understand that because there's better things to do, like going to the beach. But you're in Portland, other than scoring heroin. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, you got all the big brands in college basketball, and you got local teams.
Right.
So what
I mean, even if it were half full, I would have been like, oh, okay. But man, okay.
And so Michigan State was, playing without Jaden Reed, wrong sport. Malik Hall and Jaden Akins. And, I've gotten a lot of questions about the foot injury stuff. Like, what is Michigan State doing? It's the footwear. They're doing something wrong.
Does it happen at other schools?
Right, it does. So I've asked around a little on this, and I'm going to continue to. I'm not saying I'm done asking around, because if there's a story, there's a story. But what I've been told from other trainers, other places, this is just a really common basketball injury. And what happens is you're paying attention because it's your school. And you remember Joshua Langford. You remember Russell Bird. Miles Bridges had this situation. There have been a number of guys going back to Mateen Cleaves.
Could you please direct me to the other school that has this happen to them?
Why don't you write something? Why don't you write something? Huh? Why don't you write something?
Well played. I don't have that specifically. I'm just talking to other trainers who have said this is common. This happens other places. It would be interesting, and I would like to do that where you kind of go through, because I think it's sort of like offensive line injuries. People go, something's wrong in the water. Their offensive line's always hurt.
Frank injuries.
Yeah, it's always happening. And really, it's just because you're paying attention to your particular program. And they've had a number of different trainers throughout the years. Like there's not like one common dude. It would have been, if it was a shoe thing, that would have been interesting because they were at a Nike event. That would have been fun to be able to do that story there. It'd be like, aha, Nike at last, we bring them down. But
that's what does it.
That's what does it. But
the sweatshop labor.
I just think yeah. And Michigan State's being really careful with them. Ran into Jaden Akins' dad at the Portland airport and chatted for a little bit yesterday.
Who saw who? Did he see you or did you see him?
He saw me twice in a row now.
Wow.
Yeah. Good. It was for the last time I felt bad. I ran into him down in the bowels of Breslin Center after I had written my quick takes, and I was like all hurried and trying to get up to the press conference, and he was trying to be nice and just say hello, and
not now.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah, get out of the way, old man. I did not do that, but I felt, and so I was glad he came up to me again, and we chatted for a little while. But he did. I don't think, he did not seem concerned. I don't think Jaden is. I think the biggest hard thing for him right now is patience, because you just can't. You don't rush something like that. And I think Jaden's a little frustrated. The Malik Hall one, I think, for this season is a little more concerning, just in the sense that, depending on the timeline. Because last time they said 3 to 4 weeks, it wound up being 9. So I'm not sure Izzo's timelines on these injuries are always accurate. And so if this bleeds into January, it affects things a little more. I do think in the long haul, like it killed them against Alabama. Alabama's an uber athletic team, type of team that Joey Hauser's always going to struggle with no matter what. He'll be playing in Europe 3 years from now, and there'll be some guy who's really athletic who's guarding him, and he'll have a shit game. It's what's going to happen to him his whole life. And that was a bad match for a team missing those particular guys. And you also didn't get Pierre Brooks really in the fight in that game, so to speak. But if they don't play a team with great length and athleticism, like Notre Dame doesn't have that, I think they're fine right now. And there are some things they'll get out of this. Like the Pierre Brooks thing is really important. You never want an injury. You never want a foot injury. But Pierre Brooks playing major minutes, having moments where not only does he have to make shots, but then he realizes that he also needs to offensive rebound and do other things, or Izzo's going to be pissed as hell at him. Like Izzo was when I talked to Izzo right after that game against Alabama, no matter what I brought up, Izzo brought it back to how bad Pierre Brooks played. Like, he was like, yeah, so I was going to ask you about, Jackson Kohler and this. He's like, yeah, and Pierre Brooks sucks. That was basically Izzo's message at the time. And the next day, they were all smiles, like next to each other, because he wanted that response from Brooks. I think it's important that Brooks's growth is benefited by the opportunities he's gotten because of the injury. I don't know that the Malik Hall thing helps him as much. Maybe there's a few more minutes for people, but Hauser's just playing a ton of minutes. He played on a sprained ankle. I think he's played pretty well. He's done a lot for them. I don't think there's not the same long-term benefit there, other than there's a little more need to use those young centers, and those guys are progressing a little bit. You see it. So I guess that's good. But the Malik Hall, they need to get Hall back before the teeth of Big Ten play. That would be the only
let me ask you
real
about
concern.
Let me ask you about Hogard, because what I've noticed, and maybe this is just me watching on television, but it just seems like he's kind of aloof at times. Is there something going on? Maybe playing through an injury, personal? Am I just imagining that?
No, I think he's still just growing up.
Okay.
Because, it was weird. In that Portland game, I mean, he wasn't very good the day before against Oregon. And then he was not very good for a while against Portland. And then all of a sudden, and you start to all of a sudden think, boy, maybe he's just not that good. And then he has these, 15-minute stretches where you go, man, he really took over that game in certain ways. He just started going downhill and making things happen, and he's a problem for teams. And it's really he's just got to be that guy all the time. He's got it in him. And I don't know why it's not always there. Maybe partly because the ball is so often in Tyson Walker's hands, but I don't think that's it, because those two play really well together. They play often together. It's not affecting their playing time at all. I mean, especially with Akins being out as much as he's been out, those two are off. One's on and one's off the ball, and they often play with Akins, and they will continue to. That's not the issue. But you did see in that second half, and this will be the case against Notre Dame. Notre Dame is more athletic than Portland, but they're not an overly athletic team. And they've got a nice freshman power forward who comes off the bench. But otherwise, they really play like four guards around one big man who's skilled, but he's not a physically imposing dude. And he's a good player. But so in the same realm, Michigan State's guys who have some physical advantages have to use them. I mean, that's what A.J. Hogard can do. He's 6'4", he's got some size to him, he's quick. And he's a problem when he gets downhill. He needs to do that. And a guy, Brooks, he's shooting, he's giving them exactly what they want there. But when he starts attacking the offensive glass, it just makes such a difference. And so those sort of things, I think, were big growth moments for Michigan State. I think they've got an opportunity now to get out of November 6-2, which is incredible when you think about the schedule they thought they were playing. Some of those teams weren't as good, but they're also playing through injuries. I think everybody and their mother would sign up for 6-2 with Michigan State through this point in the season. So what do you say on Thursday night when we get back?
Do another one?
Do another one.
Okay.
And maybe do Twitter questions?
Yeah.
We could combine them with hot takes, but I think we just do Twitter questions. I think we do a normal Twitter question show. Yeah. It's time for a Twitter question show on Thursday. Get some Groovy Donut Twitter questions. We appreciate all of you listening. I must have talked a lot more because all of a sudden my throat's dry as hell.
There's only two of us.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We appreciate all you listening again. Thanks to Muskox. Go to gomuskox.com. Use the promo code CAWCAW15 for $15 off a flannel for yourself, for your loved ones, for a Christmas gift. Skyman, get yourself through November. Get yourself through any football game. If you're a Michigan State fan and you're about to watch Michigan in the Big Ten Championship, do not let this week pass you by without going to Skyman. Appreciate Hopcat as well. Go to hopcat.com. Find out where the nearest Hopcat is to you, including in East Lansing. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.